northeastern Nebraska, right below South Dakota right now. We are headed to Madison, Nebraska. And after that, we are headed to Hutchinson, Kansas. Feeling a little rough over the past few days. Just been running at different times of the day, and my sleep has been pretty fractured, so that sucks. Looks like there's a landfill up here on the right. Yep, it smells. I saw it, and then I smelled it. That smells amazing. That smells amazing. Oh, now I'm smelling, there's a cattle ranch right next to the landfill. That doesn't make too much sense. It doesn't seem too healthy, but that's what's going on. So I think most of what I smell is probably the cattle ranch. But still, that was a landfill. I'm sure Jesus loves you too, buddy. Parked behind a big retail center last night, a big shopping center. What sleep I did get was pretty good. The truck was off. I did not have the truck running, and I had the windows open to get a cool breeze. Like I said, what sleep I did have, it was good. When business started to pick up and there's a lot of cars going by my truck, I did wake up just because my engine wasn't running. So when my engine isn't running, it drowns out. When my engine isn't running, I can hear the stuff outside my truck. When my engine is running, it drowns out a lot of the outside noise. The problem is I sleep much better with the engine off, so I'd rather have the engine off than not. So it's like a catch-22. I just wish I got there earlier last night, and then I would have had a longer sleep. I only slept from like 3 to just before 9, so a little less than 6 hours, and I haven't been getting that much sleep over the past week, so I'm pretty freaking tired right now. We are unloaded. I am not carrying any other goods besides myself and my belongings. So this wind is doing a number on me because I don't have any weight in the back to kind of keep the truck and the trailer steady. That is the worst way to drive, especially in Nebraska. Nebraska and Wyoming are the I'd say, yeah, on average, the windiest states, on average, are Nebraska and Wyoming, with Wyoming probably winning out for the most severe sustained winds, in my opinion. Obviously, like Kansas and Oklahoma and Missouri, and sometimes Iowa have a good amount of tornadoes during tornado season, but that's only during tornado season where those winds are really high. Winds are really high in Wyoming and Nebraska year-round, and sometimes Colorado can get some really high wind vortexes, and that's just going to turn over trucks and trailers if they're not heavy enough to sustain the winds, or if they're going too fast in the winds, or a combination of going too fast and not being heavy enough. You really have to be careful in the wind. Conditions are probably some of the hardest conditions I drive in. Even though I've driven in a lot of snow and ice over mountain ranges in the western United States, the Rockies, and the eastern United States, the Appalachians, I would say windy conditions are by and large the worst sustained conditions to drive in. So when you drive through snowy and icy conditions, usually it stops at some point, whereas the windy conditions could just go on. Like you could drive for a day, 2, 3, 4 days, and it's just wind, and it really tires you out like nothing else. I can't describe. Like, I am freaking exhausted on a day where there's a lot of wind. I'm constantly fighting the road, the wind. I'm trying to keep the truck steady. I'm trying to keep this truck straight, and sometimes it's nearly impossible. And when the wind gets really bad, I have to just pull over to the side of the road and take a break until it dies down, or else I will be in a ditch, turned over. My biggest fear, well, I guess that's my second biggest fear. My biggest fear on the truck is obviously killing someone. I don't think about that too much, but my second biggest fear is turning the truck over. I don't know why. I think part of it is just embarrassment. If I was to do that, I would just be completely embarrassed. I'd probably run away and hide somewhere. So when the conditions get really bad, I just have to pull over to the side of the road and wait it out. And I've had to do that probably a good 7, 8 times, where the wind has been so bad. I had to, actually more than that. What am I even talking about? More than that, because if you factor in the times I've woken up in the morning and wind conditions have been so horrible that I decided not to drive for a few hours, then we're in the 20s and 30s of times it's happened where I don't drive because it's so windy and I'm just not heavy enough. turned into traffic with this guy coming at him. Not even into the turning lane. You got them all over the place. Just some real winners. What's up, everyone? I can't really read the comments right now. How you doing? How you doing? Got some new house construction on the right. Okay. I think one was a house and one was like more of a business, but I'm not sure. Got some farm equipment for sale. Looks like a farm that is perhaps going out of business. There's a lot of farm equipment for sale. Maybe they got new equipment themselves and they're still selling their old stuff. I don't know. Welcome to Belden, Nebraska. Belden, Nebraska. Wow, Belden, Nebraska is really freaking small. We were at a 50-mile-per-hour speed limit for about 300 yards. don't know why, but this bus coming towards us, it's given off prison bus vibes. Oh, I think it might have been. It was a school. Okay, so same difference, right? That's funny. I thought it was a prison bus, but it was some kind of, not like a regular yellow school bus, but some kind of sports team, I think, going somewhere. And the bus from the front, from the side, really too, looked like a prison bus. They just have like this closed-in, like hopeless feeling. That sound you just heard, I am low on windshield wiper fluid, and whenever I stop, I keep on forgetting to buy it. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but I do have to replace it soon. We're in Randolph, Nebraska. Nebraska. They sell super clean unleaded gasoline here. Wow, I'm not sure how gasoline can be super clean, but they sell it here. So if you need some super clean gasoline, come to Randolph, Nebraska. Ooh, the train is coming up on the right. The train is coming. Let's give him a little honk. This hasn't. Well, I think it's worked like once. Oh, no return. He doesn't like me. Oh well. Or he's just not really awake, perhaps. Perhaps he's drunk. Who knows? They're out there. They are out there. Oh, the train. Okay, the train is not moving. It seemed like it was moving. I'm not sure if someone was in the engine compartment. Maybe they were taking a break or waiting on some kind of signal. day. It's like cool and crisp to an extent. It's not that crisp outside. It's not that. There's not that much of a bite outside, but it's good weather. It's good weather. When I went to walk to get some coffee this morning, it was like 58 degrees, so that's pretty nice. I think the perfect temperature is like 45. I would say 45 degrees Fahrenheit is like the perfect temperature. I could live at 45 degrees every day for the rest of my life. Obviously, that's if I had to choose. Obviously, I do like hot weather, I do like cold weather. But if I had to choose, 45 would be the absolute perfect temperature, I think. Look at this. It's a big freaking house in front of me. Can't get better than that. Oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. I don't normally pass on a road like this, but we might be passing. We might be passing. This guy's gonna be going slow. Okay, it's not going that slow right now. What a turn. What a freeze, right? I mean, we're not even in Kansas. And I made a left turn and I said, there's a big freaking house in front of us. And it hadn't even blown the road. It's just on a truck. It's on the back of a truck. There's some days like I wish I had streamed. Like yesterday, I was in some heavy traffic, some heavy static in Iowa, in the Des Moines Des Moines, Iowa, and I wish I had been streaming. It was too late to fiddle with my phone while driving. It would have been super dangerous to do that. But there was a lot going on the road, and it would have been a really good stream, I think, if I had been able to stream through that area. That area is always thick with traffic. It's like you're in like Iowa cornfields, and then bam, you're in this, I don't know, big town. Maybe you could call it Des Moines a city, but it's kind of small. I mean, it's big, but I don't know. I don't know if the population warrants calling it a city. But there is a big traffic glut does happen on the I-80, and there can be some interesting behavior from the drivers. I'm not really going to describe what I saw because like that's kind of weak. I just saw some bad driving. I guess we'll just put it that way. And I wish I had been streaming through Des Moines, Iowa yesterday. That's all. I've never seen hay loaded like that. So that pickup truck had a trailer on the back, and there was hay loaded and strapped down on both sides of the small trailer. So it looked like the pickup truck had just like this gigantic ass because the hay was sticking up into the sides in a very pronounced way on his trailer. I've never seen hay stacked like that. Interesting. They were rolls of hay. They were just stacked next to each other, and and also behind each other, and it just made it look like the pickup truck had a massive ass. Unfortunately, it was not a big-breasted blonde woman with a gigantic ass. It was a pickup truck with a gigantic ass. Yeah, very unfortunate. A pickup truck with very, very wide hips. A wide-hipped Ford. That's fine. Got a cattle ranch here on the right, a lot of cows grazing.